Welcome to Checks and Balances. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And this week, we go into Dante's 7th level of hell, AfterPay. You know it's evil.
Day 8 of Money Month and AfterPay. Satan. Is that too far?
Nah, to be honest,
we should actually be saying buy now, pay later. We shouldn't.
Yeah, it's almost very much really. But I think we single out AfterPay just because of the predatory nature of the way it's designed, the user interface within the application. And when you think about AfterPay from the outside, you go, oh, it's fine. They'll automatically just make the repayments at the end of the month now. I don't have to think about it. No. You have to go manually click those things off, and it takes you 2 to 3 clicks to pay each one off.
Yeah, you make an extra click, so there's increased likelihood of default, right?
100%.
Yeah, so some of the stats around this at the moment, over 25% of Kiwis have a buy now, pay later account, and defaults are up to about 10 a bit percent, which is concerning. Mike, why do we have an issue with AfterPay? And let me break it down for you. For those that would argue, because I've never had so much heat as
no, it's wild.
When I went on the news and talked about AfterPay, and people going, "You don't know me, man. You don't know my story."
It's wild.
Yeah, including some people quite close to me. Now AfterPay, right? So look, Mike, I want these new pair of kicks, and they are straight up fire, but I can pay for it with my own cash, which I may or may not have.
Yeah.
Or I can make 4 easy installment payments with no interest. What is the harm? What is the pain to me of using AfterPay? It's just budgeting.
Just a new pair of Birkenstocks, right?
It's just spacing out the payments.
Yeah, look, the real issue with AfterPay is not about a single transaction. If you said to me, Mike, I need a new pair of Birkenstocks, they're completely fire. How do I get my feet in them? Well, and I just, I have to have them. I need them. My old ones have, cooked the tin. Yeah, look.
I need them now.
Yeah, and I need them now, and I've got the cash to pay for them now, but I'm going to spread it over 3 or 4 interest-free payments. Okay, fine. I guess there's no issue there. However, that's not what we're focused on here. And as a bit of background, when I was in the UK, I helped to design these sorts of apps. Went through all of the user interface, the user experience, the marketing plan, the data that they pull in the background,
the emotions
the way that they advertise to you. I've been the person sitting on the other side of the one-way glass, watching someone interact with ththese apps.
How'd you sleep at night?
Wow, when you just wipe your tears with a 30-pound note, doesn't even matter. For banks and companies like this, right? And using open banking. And it's not the one-off transaction. The one-off transaction, that what you just described, is the gateway drug. That is literally how we want you to think about this. It is, I need this one thing, I'll do this. You are now on a very slippery slope of how easy it is to get things on 0% interest.
Yeah.
And it is about the design of the app, right down to the colors they pick, and the ease of what you do in the app. Very easy to buy something on this. Just a little bit harder to pay it off, right?
Yeah.
And incrementally over time, all of that adds up to you are buying things you do not need on buy now, pay later because you think it's free, and it is harder to pay it off.
Yeah. Start with a party pill just before you go to a party, then bang, heroin.
Yeah.
Yep.
All roads lead to heroin.
Yep. Yeah. Especially AfterPay. In all seriousness, it's a lot to do with your, the way you think about money and the way you interact with money. Now, granted, you miss one of these payments, there's a 39% interest rate that will crush you at the end of it. But it's also to do with the concept of, if you want a thing, that's a want, not a need, and you go, I don't have the money, but I want it and I'll sort it out later. It's a horrible mindset to get around money. If you want something, you have to save for it before you go and get it.
Yeah. And it was super interesting when you were on the news talking about AfterPay and that's So what I'm saying, and the comments that like people were like passionate about it. Literally, I saw one of the comments being like, "Look at this bloke's shoes. He doesn't know, like he needs new shoes." Right? You're like, mate, you're making my point for me. Like I could have nicer shoes. I don't need nicer shoes. Like these shoes are fine.
Is this like a dig at the kicks right now, or?
We can do better than Winkle Pickers. But anyway, look, so I think it's really important to look at the stats, right? You said, right? Like 25% of Kiwis have some form of buy now, pay later. Around 10% of them are in arrears. It's a $2.3 billion market in New Zealand, and that's just bigger when it gets overseas. And a lot of Kiwis do have multiple buy now, pay later accounts. It's not just the one thing. Again, it's that gateway drug. It's the first transaction you make and how easy it is and how you think it's completely risk-free, which will get you onto the rest of it.
1 in 4 Kiwis have a buy now, pay. That stat just...
Well, you think that stat is bad? James Cameron Blair, let me let you on a little secret here. 22% of buy now, pay later users have made repayments using credit cards. I don't think the average Kiwi understands the gravity of that statement.
And the other piece is those 22% of 1 in 4 Kiwis, those 22%, do you think they got the buy now, pay later thinking, I will use debt to pay off debt? Or do you think they thought, no big deal, I get paid next week, I'll just knock off the installments, and then I'll be away with my new kicks?
100%. And if you're listening to this and going, hey guys, thanks for the preaching lesson, but I don't really need to hear this, and this doesn't really apply.
Now, can I get an amen?
Yeah, look, it doesn't really apply to me. It's really interesting here to go, look, you can use buy now, pay later for services like groceries, bills, fuel, alcohol, these sorts of things. Yeah, that's even worse if you're doing this for necessities. But primarily, what does this come back to, James? Starts with a B, rhymes with budget. It's called a budget. Everyone wants the instant gratification. They're not after the delayed gratification, putting in the groundwork to make sure their finances are in a good position where, if I came to you, if you put in a good budget in place, you got your emergency fund, you had your savings account, you had everything all lined up, and I came to you 12 months down the track and said, hey, do you want an AfterPay account? You'd laugh at me. You'd be like, what are you talking about, mate? Like, you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's about that change of mindset.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility for yourself. You don't need the newest pair of J's. You don't need the newest iPhone. Put a budget in place. You'll be right.
Yeah. And the reality is, if you want to achieve the life that you want, if you want to win in whatever way, whatever metrics they are to you, AfterPay is not the answer.
Yeah,
buy now, pay later.
One of my favorite ever like YouTube videos ever was Professor Galloway doing winners and losers. And like he'd say, in this situation, the winners, the buy now, pay later providers, the losers, the customers.
Yep, 100%. Mike, the other very concerning trend is that 20% of buy now, pay later transactions are used for essentials, groceries, bills, fuel. It's really sad.
Yeah, it is. And we absolutely recognize that times are tough out there. Inflation is going through the roof. I don't know if you've ever tried to buy a carton of eggs lately. It is goddamn ridiculous. However, you've got to start with the budget. And again, I acknowledge that some people are absolutely like, Mike, I budgeted to the eyeballs and I'm still behind. Look, I absolutely understand that, but unfortunately, the majority of buy now, pay later debts are not on essentials. They're on luxury items and things that you do not need.
Yeah, and the great thing about Money Month is that there's heaps of days in August and heaps of topics for us, whether it's the budget, whether it's the income, whether it's goal setting, whether it's tomorrow with habits. There is a way to pull yourself out, and it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but if you come on this journey, you will get the results that you want.
Yeah, and thank you very much for absolutely buying into the apps that I designed. It makes me feel great that I to know that I was good at my job and that you've all got buy now, pay later
You
accounts.
bought your car from like a check from one of those apps getting sold, didn't you?
One of the companies that I worked for in the UK, I had shares in, and it sold out to Moody's Analytics. Shout out to Moody's Analytics for the new BMW.
Yeah, I don't know where to take that. So if we're coming back to the action for the day, it's a simple one. I want you to write on a piece of paper, buy now, pay later equals evil, and I will not get ahead with these products. If you have one, cancel it now, never use it again. And if you have debt associated, jump back to 2 days ago where we talked about how to get out of these debts and a plan, and then jump back to the episode on budgets and use those tools to clear this and get ahead. Thank you very much for joining us. Help us get to 100 reviews on Spotify. Share us a bit of love, and we'll catch you next time.
And for an absolute extra for experts, I'm going to tell you the wildest thing I did with data when I was in the UK, right? So what we did was we got your spend data, so your transactional data. So I know that James spends, I don't know, $50 every Friday night at a particular gin bar, okay? What we do is we then look through your transactional data, and let's say you booked a flight overseas. And in that transactional data, there's the flight details in the transaction stream. I'd also pick up your Facebook data and your messaging apps to see who you're in groups with. And let's say I saw James's Fiji friends. I'm like, oh, great. They're all going to Fiji on the same day. What we would do is we would take all of that data, amalgamate it, figure out what day you were going to go to the airport. You would get in the Uber to go to the airport, or we'd roughly know what time you had to be at the airport. When you hit the airport, throughout all of the airports, there are location beacons. Right, so they attach to your phones as you're walking through the airport. You ever used duty free at the airport? Yeah, not as good as it used to be, right? So the duty free company was like, hey, how do we get people to buy stuff from our duty free? So what I would do, I would take your transactional data, I would take your flight data, I would look at your messaging app and go, you're having a good day or a bad day in this group chat of people you're going to Fiji with. I would get the location data on your phone as you're standing in DFS Galleria. I would advertise gin to you at either 50% off if you were having a bad day or 2 for 1 if you were having a good day. There is no need for your phone to listen to you. We know everything about you anyway. Have a good day. Checks and balances.